Hey babes, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brandy. I am the host of the Be Real Babe show, a spinoff of the Be Real Babe podcast. And today, you guys, we are keeping up with Canada, and I have two stories for you today. One that is local to Kelowna that is and potentially could affect anybody here in Canada with natural health supplements, as well as talking about the good old budget. Now, the budget story is kind of ongoing right now, so I'm probably going to have to pop in a little bit here and add a little update to what happened because, to be honest, y'all, I'm going away on a vacation, so I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of all my recordings. So some of these episodes are going to be a little bit later than when I know, or sorry, earlier than I record. So these news is going to be a little bit later, but you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to get ahead, So anyways, bear with me. So I will probably pop in with an update because there's supposed to be an update tomorrow about the budget. But anyways, guys, if you're interested in listening to that, stick around and we'll jump right in. So guys, two stories today, one local to Kelowna, and then we will talk about the budget and a couple of things that has come up there. I'm not an economist, so I don't really know what to say about this, but all I know is more debt could probably not be the best. So we'll talk about that second. But first, I want to talk about this article here. This happened this week here in Kelowna. This is from Castanet. I'm going to read the article from the 4th, and then I'm going to flip over to the article that they published on the 5th. Super interesting takes here, but let's see what happened. So, Kelowna woman selling Ivermectin as a cancer treatment is rated by Health Canada. A Kelowna woman who has been selling ivermectin online as a treatment for cancer has had her business rated by Health Canada. Ezra Healing owner Svetlana Rilkov Dala Lana recently posted a video to social media while federal officials worked in the background. "They are showing me the drug act," she said, holding up a piece of paper in the video. "They want to take away all my ivermectin, healing cancer and vaccine injuries." So awesome of Health Canada to stop the healer, even though there is a genocide going on. It's really, really sad day. Not because this is happening, but because this is our country. Ezra's Healing online store sells ivermectin alongside a number of supplements and a few cannabis products. The shop also sells a 60-minute audio file for $98 that is a curable cancer health support by binaural affirmation prayer. Sorry if I butchered that. A news release issued by Rilkov after the raid claimed $200,000 worth of products were seized by Health Canada. "I'm disheartened by Health Canada's actions today. It's not me they harm, it's many Canadians who are desperately seeking out cancer treatments and hope," Rilkov said in a Facebook post. Health Canada told Castanet it should be able to provide a statement on the situation by the end of day. Rilkov was a nurse in Christina Lake, BC, who lost her job due to refusing the COVID-19 vaccine, something she now refers to as a bioweapon. Since then, she has become a prominent voice in the anti-vaccine movement in Interior BC. In addition to losing her job, she recently told the U.S. podcaster that her refusal of the vaccine resulted in a divorce from her ex-husband, who was a doctor and lost custody of her children. Goodness sakes. In the same interview, she said that she broke into a COVID-19 vaccine clinic 4 years ago and stole vials. She claimed that she helped examine the vaccine under a microscope and found things that looked like possibly a parasite. 80% of the world's population gets this vaccination. Do they have possible parasites in their vaccinations? I think they did, she told Stu Peters. And why do I think they did? Because people are recovering from vaccine injuries along with turbo cancer, which in my mind is a vaccine injury from an anti-parasite simple medication like ivermectin. Pause. Sorry, that was a long one before I didn't pause. One thing I want to say here is a big part of the last 5 years that has kind of drove me mental is people telling others what they can and cannot take for what they are suffering from. I understand the scare and the lines that can be crossed when promising people pure cures. Like, I totally get that. I know that's not a thing that you want to take lightly because, you could be placing hope where hope isn't. However, I think hope is not a bad thing. However, people get scammed. So I understand that this conversation has a lot of nuance. But what I don't understand is during the pandemic, there were known treatments that could now come out after saying that these things can help with COVID, and you weren't allowed to talk about that, right? So I think when it comes to things like cancer or people wanting to look for alternatives, I feel like that should be up to them. And I think for me, like I said, the last 5 years, I'm just so tired of everyone telling them what they have to do. If someone's diagnosed with something and they look at the Western pharmaceuticals and or Western, which some people have to do. Like, do not get me wrong. I just feel like it's up to each individual. The same thing happened with the vaccine. I thought the same thing. We should be able to choose for ourselves with informed consent, right? And if people had other means to feeling better, and if something like ivermectin helped them, why is that such a negative thing? I just don't understand it, right? Like, and what blows my mind is the attack on natural supplements. Like, if someone riddle me this. If someone wants to take a natural supplement that they think could cure something for themselves, that's now kind of deemed illegal because it could prevent them from dying, but we're going to offer maids for everything as an alternative. That's the Canada we're living in right now. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this. Instead of compassionate care and letting people have alternatives, instead, we're going to be like pharma or maids. Nothing in between. And anything else in between is deemed crazy. I'm not claiming anything. I've always said that I'm about informed consent and about having choices that you make for you and your family. Okay. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's so selfish when it comes to it and all that. No, I don't think so. Because unless you're willing to help the person that could potentially get injured from whatever you're pushing by supporting their lifestyle, by paying for their lives, whatever, if you're willing to support them, then you really shouldn't say anything is safe and effective. Same with people that push Botox. It is not safe. It is maybe effective, but it is not safe. And you can argue with me in the comments, but I will show you 6 cases in 5 months that I was podcasting that can tell you otherwise, and a group of a lot of people. So I struggle really hard when the only alternative is to be told it's safe and effective when people are reacting from it, at the same time telling people that they only have this choice. Why can't we let people choose what they want to have? This part bothers me so much. And look at so many people that have got sick through the pandemic for whatever reason it is. They should have been able to choose whether to take it, whether to not, how they treated themselves with that. You know, if ivermectin was around, would a law where people got better? Because that was word on the street at the time, but it was like illegal to say that. Why? And people making fun of others, like having horse face. It's like, oh, so a medicine can't be good for everything. Like, y'all obviously don't know a lot of. Anyways, we're not even gonna go there. Um, I just think it's interesting. I'm not saying that I don't know the situation as much. It just came up, and I'm not saying things are right, wrong, or the other. I just think we should have options, and we should. It's kind of crazy to me too that you guys will give out meth pipes and needles at just like outside of hospitals here in fucking BC and give safe supply, but you're worried about ivermectin. Like I don't know that when I was developing as a baby or as a human, is a part of me that is missing something that understands this, because I don't. But again, I've been labeled all the things. So conspiracy theorist, denier, anti-vaxxer, all those things just for having fucking simple questions. Just because I reacted poorly to birth control, and that's something that we were told was safe and effective. So now every time I hear safe and effective, especially when I do the things that I do, like y'all, I'm at almost 240 something episodes. I've had over like hundreds of guests at this point with all different experiences from all things that at some point were probably safe and effective. I'm allowed to question those things. I'm not claiming anything. I'm not telling you what to do. I want people to leave people do what they fucking want. Claims that ivermectin can treat cancer are not new and have been bouncing around the web for some time. Actor Mel Gibson made the claim on Joe Rogan's show at the start of the year, which drew condemnation from the Canadian Cancer Society. Misinformation on cancer treatment is dangerous, cruel, irresponsible, and gives false hope to people with cancer and their loved ones. Researchers around the world dedicate their lives to uncovering the best cancer treatments. Surgery, radiation, and approved cancer drugs like chemotherapy are safe and proven to stop cancer cells from growing and spreading. Choosing to use an alternative therapy can be serious health effects, such as the cancer spreading or getting worse. There have been some studies on ivermectin and cancer. However, those have been limited to investigating the effect of the drug on cells in periodishes and mice, or people with the experiences that you guys just don't want to talk to. And again, I am not saying that ivermectin cures cancer. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that I notice a lot of the times that people don't actually listen or follow up on people that do any of these other alternatives. So I just find it interesting that they say that. I also find it interesting, Canadian Cancer Society, not to be rude at all, but you give people false hope all the time. Because with all due respect, as someone who years ago spent years of my life to relay for life, one time I was the top contributor in Grand Prairie. I'm pretty sure I raised over $5,000 just by myself for the relay. That did nothing. Cancers are worse. And everyone can say that's because of early prevention. And I'm not sure about that. I am not sure about that because these cancers aren't little. And again, I'd like to refer specifically to BC Cancer because I will bring this up every single fucking time because she is one of my close friends. And if you want to hear more about her story, please go to the Be Real Bed podcast. We actually have an episode dropping next Friday, actually this Friday, about her whole entire story, my friend Torba, of how BC Cancer lost her referral and she almost died here in Canada. She had to flee to the States. And I will repeat this time and time again because I get so tired of places like this that get millions of dollars and talk shit and tell people what they should do. There should be an option for both, one or the other, if that's what you choose, or harmoniously. I feel like this is your life. You should get to decide. And everybody else that's not in it really has no say. That's what I feel. I also feel that Canada is very behind in what they need for that. I've heard countless stories of people that have been diagnosed with cancer that do not get help in time. They do not get treated in a timely manner. Detection doesn't happen because everyone just gets pushed out the door. So sorry if people are looking for alternatives. That's why people are looking for alternatives. That's why nurses are going out trying to do these things from what they clinically see and what they see that's missing. That's generally what people do when there's something missing, like a demand missing, they go and supply it. And people that want to help and have other options seems to be missing a lot because they get shut down. Right. And again, I don't know, like I said, I just stumbled on the story this week, but this is something that I find absolutely terrifying that they can again just come and do this because someone ratted her out. So let's go to what Health Canada had to say the next article that was published on the 5th. Apologies, there might be some repeat information. Bear with me. Health Canada confirmed Tuesday that it seized a range of unauthorized health products from a Kelowna business, including Ivermectin, and its enforcement efforts will escalate unless charges are made. Ezra Healing owner Svetlana Rilkov announced what she described as a Health Canada raid in a social media post last week. That link to the article that we just read. Health Canada explained Wednesday that the October 30th visit to Rilkov's business was in response to allegations of noncompliance with Food and Drug Act and regulations, and the complaints appeared to have merit. During the visit, Health Canada seized a range of unauthorized health products, including unauthorized prescription drugs such as ivermectin, mebendazole, hydroxychloroquine, and azithromycin. I did not go far in medical in post high school, obviously. Selling unauthorized health products or making false or misleading claims to prevent, treat, or cure illnesses is illegal in Canada. If Health Canada is not satisfied with the company's actions or if the level of risk changes, the department will adjust its enforcement responses accordingly. This may involve escalating to stronger compliance and enforcement measures, including prosecution. All actions are taken in accordance with Health Canada's compliance and enforcement policy. Then it just kind of goes on what we talked about in the article, what she said, what the Mel Gibson thing, the Canadian Cancer Society, and then it ends with Health Canada uses a variety of tools to verify non-compliance, including site visits. If non-compliance is identified, the department will take action, which may include seizure, stop sales, or referral to law enforcement. The federal organization said it will continue to monitor the marketplace and encourages anyone with information about potential non-compliant or unauthorized health products to report it using this form online. Thanks, Castanet. Thanks for making that easy for people to rat other people out. I understand if this was actually like a full-blown scam situation, but again, I believe that everyone should have the choice on what they want to do. And if they feel like they have informed consent when taking these things, I think they should be able to do it. Most people did not have informed consent when it came to the COVID vaccine, period. If you ask somebody what the mechanism of mRNA was at the time, no one could really tell you. When you asked what the risks were, no one could really tell you. And I'm not saying yes or no. I have never been yes, you must yes or you must no. I said I want informed consent. I don't feel like I have it. I need to pause because I have fertility issues and I don't need anything else to mess with that while I'm trying to preserve the last couple years of my fertility because I'm fucking 30 next year. But no one wanted to listen to that. You know, it wasn't immediately you're an anti-vaccine and all this. And then I found down the rabbit hole of these other things that were actually known and have won prizes. Were saying that they were horse paste and just for vets. And I'm like, What is going on? Again, never said any of these things were true and false. All I was asking is why? Why can't we talk about this? Why can't people take alternatives? Why can't people decide what they want to do when it comes to their health and their treatments? But we're all fine handing out safe supply and giving people fucking crack pipes and needles just to make sure they don't spread diseases but continue their addiction and their disease of addiction. That's compassionate. Offering people maids versus hope or treatment. That's compassion here in Canada. And I'm not talking end of life motherfuckers, stay out of the comment section about that. I'm talking about people that have no hope being offered nothing and told you strictly have to use pharma. Oh, and by the way, it's going to take you forever to get it or your insurance won't cover it, but don't you dare go look for another alternative. Right, wrong, or the other. I think everyone should have a choice. And I don't know how Canadians aren't on board with that. If it's not your body, it's not affecting you, why do you care? I don't fully agree with abortion. I agree with the 5 to 10%. That's about it. That's my opinion and what I do with my body. But that doesn't mean that I think I should infringe on you and your right to do that, even if that wouldn't be what I would do because I have fertility issues. And that would be really weird to fight for that. And then all of a sudden, that's the reality of it. But it's not my business what you do. I don't meet your maker. I don't live with you every day. That's your choice. But I want you to have the options as long as it's humane to do whatever the fuck you want. I wouldn't do it. That's my personal choice. But I would want to not that because I can't believe in bodily autonomy and say, oh, but you could do this. There's a certain degree where I do believe it's murder and come on. You know what I mean? Like, come on. We can all agree. But again, like, don't agree with it, but I can still understand. So I feel like we need to understand it when it comes to stuff like this and people wanting to use natural health products to fight whatever it is they're fighting. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, guys, co-host is back for the second story of the day. He loves talking politics, so of course he's going to show up for the politics part. Hey, what do you think of Mark Carney? If you hear purring, that's just because he's happy to be sitting with me, not because, and it's a white blanket. We obsess about white blankets in these houses. It could be because he's got a white tux on. But anyways, let's talk about the budget, you guys. Again, I'm not an economist, but I don't think a lot of people are feeling good about this one. This is a article from Global News. Let me just take it from your people. Here are 6 things you might have missed in budget 2025. So this was posted November 4th. The Carney government delivered its first federal budget on Tuesday, a document marked by high spending, lower immigration targets, and a variety of cuts, all emphasizing Canada's need to confront a generational challenge amid the rupture of a trade war. The government's 2025 budget sets out an agenda of 141.4 billion. I gotta adjust myself so you guys can see my co-host better. Okay. The Carney government delivered its first federal budget on Tuesday, a document marked by high spending, lower immigration targets, and a variety of cuts, all emphasizing Canada's need to confront a generational challenge amid the rupture of the trade war. The government The government's 2025 budget sets out an agenda of 141.4 billion in new spending, offset by 51.7 billion in projected savings over the next 5 years, with the deficit projecting being 78.3 billion this year. Who do we owe this money to? Like the fucking Decepticons? Like, how do we get out of this hell? Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said the costly budget would add to the national debt. It's quite large. On behalf of all Canadians who can no longer afford to eat, heat, or house themselves because of liberal inflation, we Conservatives cannot support this costly liberal budget, Poilievre said. On behalf of the Canadians who can no longer afford to eat, heat, or house themselves because of liberal inflation, we the Conservatives cannot support this costly liberal budget, Poilievre said. Here are some smaller points you may have missed but that matter for you. The price of stamps. Currently, the price of a postage stamp is regulated in Canada. Canada Post says it has kept regulated letter mail rates increases at a minimum over the last decade. It's in the budget on Tuesday. The government announced its plan to amend the Canada Post Corporation Act to deregulate the setting of postage rates. For stamps purchased in a booklet, coil, or pane, which represents most stamp sales, the rate increased by 25% in January to $124 per stamp. The price of a single domestic stamp increased to $144, up from $115, Canada Post said at the time the most recent price hike. There's little further details on the proposal at the time. Expanding EI parental benefits. The government announced that it will amend the Employment Insurance Act to allow claimants receiving parental EI benefits to get 8 more weeks of parental benefits in the event of the death of the child. I like that. That's really sweet. Currently, if the death of a child occurs while parental benefits are paid, parents are no longer eligible as of the week following the loss. Ew, I don't like that. I like this. Thank you guys. That's I'll call good things when I see them. Hopefully I'm not missing something. And if you know something more about this that's like shady, because my trust is low, guys, and I think that's fair. You let me know, but I really like this. I think obviously I don't like child loss, just to be clear. I like that more time is being given, and I think it's actually kind of gross that the week after the loss you were going to be losing benefits. Like, this is where I'm okay with our tax dollars going to. I just hope it gets used correctly and it gets implemented and the people actually get the help. New alert system. The federal government is also creating a new national public alerting system model, it says on Tuesday's budget. The budget allocates $55.4 million in spending over 4 years for the system, which will provide alerts for everything from imminent natural disasters, extreme weather events, security threats to report missing and abducted children. It is not clear yet what the system would look like. Again, sounds great. Love this. This is great. Are we going to have another Arrive scam and you're just going to funnel the money to Brookfield or to people with liberal ties? That's my question. These things are all great. Please do them properly. Please do them ethically. Please do not force any mandates on us again. And I'm fine with it. I know other people might not, but for the amount of missing kids that go around in fucking Canada, I think that we need more of it. I think we should have a system when there's a missing kid, not just Amber Alerts. There's way too many missing kids. There should be a platform where you can sign up for it and get the notifications. I mean, there's obviously got to be some boundaries, but don't think this is bad. Again, a lot of good things start with a good idea and great intentions. And then it seems like corruption just follows for the last 10 years, but I digress. More aerial firefighting. So far, 2025 has been the second worst wildfire season in Canadian history, with more than 6,000 wildfires in nearly every province and territory, Public Safety Canada had said last week. These wildfires have burnt more than 8.3 million hectares of land, forcing the evacuations of more than 85,000 people, including 45,000 people from the 73 First Nation communities. Tuesday's budget allocates $257.6 million over 4 years starting next year to Natural Resources Canada to lease 4 aircrafts to bolster provincial and territorial aerial firefighting capacity. Again, don't disagree with this. Hopefully this goes to the right things. I don't want to go to the fire in Alberta that was completely left out of control, and I believe was the one that did Jasper. Don't quote me on that. It was led by a team of you know what I'm putting down. So again, do we disagree with that? No. But again, things always sound good. What is this going to look like? Are people actually going to see the money? Are the firefighters, the ones on the ground, going to see more money? Or is this just going to be put to more bureaucracy and red tape? Because when the Okkkkk fire happened, there was a lot of red tape and the shuswap, all of it, for people going to try and save their homes. They just let it all burn down. I understand their safety, but again, I understand that people need to take their own risks. And some people just can't have everything burned to the ground. You know what I mean? Like, choices. So hopefully, again, this goes into the right avenues. Earthquake insurance. According to Insurance BC, there are nearly 5,000 earthquakes in Canada every year, with the West Coast being especially vulnerable. It added that there's 30% more risk of Canadians facing a major earthquake within the next 50 years. According to the Insurance Bureau of Canada, most home insurance plans don't include protection from earthquakes. The government said it will consult with federally regulated property and casualty insurers as well as other stakeholders on how it can ensure the stability of Canada's insurance sector in an extreme earthquake event. Okay, check me if I'm wrong. Check me if I'm wrong. When's the last time we've experienced something like this? I believe the one that I can recall, I'm from the West Coast. The last one that I knew that did a lot of damage was in Port Alberni before I think I was even born. Maybe in the 70s, maybe 73. Hold on, let's Google that. Are we shocked? Okay, so what's the Google have to tell us? Again, this is just what I'm looking at. If you have something else, tell me. The worst damage from an earthquake in Canadian history in terms of financial cost in a populated area has not yet occurred, but a major potential scenario has been studied. Historically, the 1929 Grand Banks earthquake caused the most fatalities, 28 people, due to resulting in a tsunami, and had property losses estimated over $1 million in 1929, which would be around $20 million in 2004 dollars, probably $40 million in today's inflation. This was primarily due to the deconstruction of homes, ships, businesses, fishing gear in Newfoundland Peninsula. The 1946 Vancouver Island earthquake was Canada's largest onshore earthquake, magnitude of 7.3, knocked down 75% of chimneys in the closest communities, causing considerable structural damage, but luckily only 2 deaths. Okay, a magnitude of 9.5 off the coast of BC could cause an estimated $75 billion in damage. Could. Now listen, I'm born and raised on the island. This is something that I've always been terrified of, but something in my 39 years that has not happened. So at the current time, I don't know that this is necessarily something that we need to be spending how much money on. Okay, so the Port Alberni one, I was close. I said 73. It was 1964. 9 years off, but still not bad. The tsunami that caused the massive Alaskan earthquake and struck Port Alberni and the nearby town of Alberni on March 28, 1964. The Alberni Inlet funneled 6 waves towards the town, with the second wave reaching the height of 3.5 meters, causing extensive damage to hundreds of homes and businesses, but no fatalities. So there's actually a line on the main road in Port Alberni that's like the tsunami level. So there's around the town for the tsunami levels. And as kids, we used to hear that it's like a didgeridoo is what it sounds like. And it was the earthquake noise. And we'd have to walk because my school, of course, was below the tsunami line. So we'd have to practice tsunami calls. And one has never happened in the time that I've been in that town, obviously 64. So again, I'm not trying to be a bitch about this. I'm just, again, curious of how come we're going to be spending this much money towards something. Like, yes, I agree, there should be something there, maybe natural disasters in its entirety. And I don't know, I keep saying we shouldn't be spending this much money. It doesn't say how much, but I feel like if it's something that's written in here, it's going to be of some sort of significance. But again, like, there's a 30% risk from Canada having one in the next 50 years. I definitely think home insurance should include this. I'm just a little confused on this one, but I digress. So the last part of this is Canada Strong Pass. Last month, the government renewed the Canada Strong Pass for another summer. On Tuesday, the budget allocated $116.3 million over 2 years, starting in 2025-2026, to renew the Canada Strong Pass for the holiday season from December 12th, 2025, my birthday, to January 15th, 2026, and then again in summer 2026. The pass was announced this past spring as a move to increase tourism while also picking up on Canadians' frustrations over 51st state. Don't speak for all Canadians. Not all of us are mad about that. And tariffs imposed by U.S. Donald Trump. I'm traveling to Hawaii. Because you know what? Y'all made it too expensive to travel within our own country. Because to go across the other side to even see the East Coast, we're going to be spending pretty much the same money as we would by going down to Hawaii. Even with the dollar as bad as it is. Okay, maybe not, but you know what I'm saying. No offense to the East Coast, but I'd rather spend an extra $1,000 and go down to Hawaii than go to the East Coast. And I'm sure East Coasters feel that way about West Coast. They'd probably rather go somewhere else. But either way, I think this is great because I do think we should travel. Standard prices across the board need to come down, not just this pass, but numbers released to Global News indicate the pass has been effective, with national museums in both parks seeing an increase in visits compared to 2024. And that's great. I think that's great. Like, that's something that is really good. Again, these things all sound good. So let's pause and see where this actually goes. And one more piece of this, again, I'm going to have to pop in after this, near the end, what actually happens on Friday, because it's Thursday while I'm recording this and we're not launching until Monday. But Carney government survives its first confidence vote over the budget. Now, listen, I don't love this budget at all. I'm scared of it. But at the same time, this country cannot last another election right now. Like we just don't need to do this right now. Maybe in a couple years, but right now we cannot afford to go through another one. And honestly, I feel like y'all need to just see some of this. We need people to see this, because I don't think he is the guy that he says he's going to. And I've been really good at being completely as neutral as I can be, because I'm obviously conservative, but I've been trying to give hope and benefit of the doubt, and it's just not happening. And it's been 7 months. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government survived the first confidence vote over the federal budget on Thursday evening, but will face another one before the week is done. The NDP Bloc Québécois and Green Party leader Elizabeth May voted with the minority Liberals to defeat a conservative sub-amendment to the budget in the House of Commons. The conservative measure was a sub-amendment to the Bloc's own budget amendment, which will face a vote on Friday. A spokesperson for the government House leader Stephen McKinnon told Global News earlier Thursday that Carney has made the determination to make both amendments confidence votes. They are a matter of confidence, Communication Director Mark Kennedy said. NDP interim leader Don Davies told reporters his 7-member caucus would vote with the Liberals to defeat the Conservative measure, which sought to add its spending and tax priorities to the budget. Sorry, team. Light died. It is so, these ring lights get ridiculously hot and they just overpower. So apologies. We're almost done here. The Conservatives want massive cuts to public spending. That's exactly the opposite direction that the New Democrats thinks we need to go in, which is investing in the Canadian economy. So there's absolutely no way we're going to support the Conservatives' motion today. Carney told reporters after question period it was good to see the NDP supporting the government. When don't they? Like, fuck off. They have no choice. There's 7 of them. They made the right choice, he said before quickly leaving. Davies said the party is still reviewing the bloc motion and wouldn't say if the NDP will vote against that one too. The Conservatives and Bloc Québécois have both come out against the budget after it was unveiled Tuesday, saying it failed to meet their priorities. The NDP has yet to declare a position on the budget, saying Tuesday it would take time to review the document. The minority Liberals need 2 more votes to survive any confidence vote. The party boosted its seat count to 170 after Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entourmont resigned from the Conservative caucus Tuesday, crossing the floor to join the Liberals. Listen, I know this is legal, allegedly. Doesn't make sense. The minute you step down from the party you were voted in for, immediate by-election, in my opinion. I think this is total bullshit. Total bullshit. Your riding didn't vote for a Liberal. They voted for a Conservative. That's insane. This is something I will never understand because what's the point? How do people know that you're legit then? It blows my fucking mind. Anyways, that's the end of this. So that's another concern here in Canada is potentially now they only need, I don't know if that was 170 or they had one more, but they're very close to grabbing a majority government, which means from my understanding is usually a minority government usually never lasts past 2 years. And honestly, you guys, this is worse spending. We have gone from one of the top places to live to one of the worst. When are the rest of Canada that's not calling this out, when are you going to be on board to call this out? Listen, I know most of my audience is not going to be old people, quote unquote boomers, but at what fucking point do you not care about your kids? Like, because you had it a certain way, that's amazing. Maybe think about them going forward instead of yourselves. Is that a thought? I'm not saying all boomers, but if you look at where a lot of the voting is going, it is going to the older generations continually voting for Liberals. They're not doing a good job. They haven't spent our money well. We're going deeper and deeper in deficit to the Decepticons. And I don't know when this ends, when this stops. Y'all want all of these social programs and all these things, but you don't take any of the time to see if they're actually being effective or help people based off your biased data. But do you actually go and talk to people? Food banks are up. People are losing their jobs left, right, and center. But it's better, and it's, I'm sorry, it's because Trump's tariffs. I know they're not helping. Do not get me wrong. But this place was going down before that. And I thought you guys put this guy in because he was going to elbows up against Trump. Where has that been? Because I've seen nothing but elbows down, ass up personally. That's the way, like some Tila Tequila moments in here. That's what it looks like more to me than professionals. That's just what I've seen from the outside, from what I can see, because all Canadian news is blocked and we're not allowed to talk about certain things, and censorships are through the roof. People wonder where they get these opinions from. Well, because we have to go looking into stuff ourselves, because y'all can't be fucking honest. You can't even be honest on the little things. So people wonder why we have distrust, because there has been nothing but continual proof for reasons of that. It's been years I've been talking about this. Nothing has changed. Things have just gotten worse. So can we say maybe it's two wings of the same bird, or what the fuck ever, but maybe it's not. Give it a chance. Give it a fucking chance. But we don't give it a chance. We don't. We just keep doing the same things over and wondering why we're crashing out and doing worse. Insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, even though we know it's not working. Overspending doesn't get us out of anywhere. Being accountable for mismanagement of money, great. Again, literally just go Wikipedia, government corruption, government scandals. Go back to the podcast, Be Real Babe podcast, season 6 and season 7, and find all the Keeping Up with Canada's prior to this. You'll hear us talk about MAID, UBI, all of those things. We've been talking about corruption in Canada. We've been talking about the fucking attack on natural healthcare products. We were talking about all these things years ago, and it's just compiling. The more you have to depend on the government, the more they're going to have to be able to take, they're going to have to they're not going to have to, they're going to manipulate. Like, it's just facts. I'm sorry. How long has this been happening? Oh no. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about my crash out. Lights out, lights out. I don't know. I'm definitely not a professional. I need better lighting, obviously, because all of these ring lights are dying within half an hour. But anyways, guys, if you've listened so far for this long, thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, keeping in mind that just because something's happening on the other side of Canada doesn't mean it's not going to happen eventually on your side of the world. So if natural health products are important to you, or the choice to choose on what treatment you have, maybe this is something you're interested in. You want to go and dive deeper into this and see, what's really going on and what we should be concerned about. And if you're concerned about the budget like I am, and if not, like, there sounds like there's really good things. I just don't know why we have to be spending $78 billion more. I don't understand why we could be one of the most resourceful places on this earth, and yet we're not, and we're struggling and very quickly losing the beauty, and people are not going to want to come here anymore and for visiting for any of those things, because it's going to cost too much money. It's going to be too politically hostile, and they're just not the happy Canadians that we used to be. And there's a reason for that. And I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but we've had a shit government that has mismanaged our lives for the last 10 years. And now everyone's quality of life isn't as good as it used to be. And people are feeling it. And that's just that. And I wish I could change it. And I wish there's something that I could do to change it. But all I can think of is continually to have this conversation and hopefully reach as many people as we can to start dialing into politics in Canada and what's going on, instead of just putting your head in the stand and your elbows up like this and head down. You know what I'm saying? Like an ostrich. We're not going to talk about ostriches right now. Too soon. Too soon. Yeah, anyways, I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing fucking elbows down, head in the sand, like just buried. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any resolution, but I digress. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys will tell me in the comment section. But again, thank you so much for listening. I'm so sorry for the last little bit for the light going out and that really distracting thing, but I don't want to go back and edit it because, like I said, guys, I'm trying to get ahead for my holidays. But thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Okay, babes, little update. Liberal budget clears second confidence hurdle as MPs head into break week. So the amendments have been voted down, which means they're going to go forward with the budget, and they're going to, of course, take another week off work. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time, bye.